Hey, thanks for checking out my channel. This is Paint and Draw with Tom, and I'm Tom Neiman. Today we're going to take a break from our plein air adventures that we've been posting on the channel and some of the instructional content, and we're just going to review a really valuable resource. It's actually a book. Books themselves are one of my favorite resources. They really do help folks like us that are aspiring artists looking to improve their craft do so in a way that is very easy to digest and easy to incorporate into our existing creative practice. This particular book, Keys to Painting Trees and Foliage, it's a classic Northlight instructional book. Northlight is a publisher of many different instructional books, which we'll try to incorporate into our book reviews here on the channel. So come along with me. We'll talk about its content and also ways with which we can practically actually apply the knowledge provided within this book and the insights as well into our own painting practice in our efforts to improve and grow as artists. So when we look at this book, Keys to Painting Trees and Foliage in all mediums, right from the get-go, we benefit from a close-up of a beautiful painting. Just the fact that we're looking at contemporary artists within this book that are producing at a high level. We're looking at their finished work and also images of their progress really does wonders for us as we try to learn new techniques, reinforce good best practices in the effort to create our own artwork. And the Keys to Painting Trees and Foliage, we would call it a practical instructional art anthology. It really is a collection of different techniques from different artists. It is an art instruction book specifically related to painting techniques, but there are some areas that touch upon drawing as well. The format of the book is an edited compilation. Rachel Rubin Wolf gathers together lessons, demonstrations, and tips from a variety of professional artists rather than writing a singular author manual. So there's some unique value associated with this particular book. The publication has been executed at a high level of quality, and you can see some of the beautiful images. You can see right at the acknowledgments in the beginning of the book a list of all the artists who were involved in bringing this together. Folks that are amongst my favorites and within the contemporary art realm, including Kevin McPherson, Stanley Maltzman, Zoltan Szabo, and many, many others here who are just wonderful, incredible artists. And there also happen to be, pretty sharing, open artists that enjoy teaching. Daniel Patterson's painting here, which happens to be a watercolor, just incredible. Who in the world could create a watercolor painting like this other than somebody like Donald Patterson, I should say. It also provides helpful information like the actual size of this painting. This is 12 inches by 24 inches or 30 centimeters by 61 centimeters. And when you make your way through the book, there's beautiful images like this one. This is a Claudia Nice watercolor and India ink piece. You have apple trees with the sky, kind of filtering through behind the image of the apple tree. It's called Winter Apples, watercolor and India ink, 10 inches by 7 inches. Just an incredible image here, definitely inspiring. And you could see some hints around how she created some of the effects here in this high contrast painting. Now, the book is organized within 5 chapters. Chapter 1, drawing trees and foliage and all the little subheadings beneath that. It's chock filled with insights that can help us grow as artists. Chapter 2, painting trees. Chapter 3, foliage, painting foliage and grasses. Chapter 4, winter works, magic on trees and foliage. And there's just some really interesting insights into how you might go about painting winter scenes or drawing winter scenes for that matter as well. Chapter 5, painting trees on plein air and in studio. And there's some really, really helpful insights in here for those of us, if you're like me and you really enjoy going out and painting on plein air and sometimes translating that work, those notes that you capture out in nature to larger, more finished studio paintings, there's some really helpful insights in there as well. Now, right from the get-go, including not only the cover, but at the introduction, here's an image called of a painting called Full Glory. It's an oil painting by Kevin McPherson, 20 inches by 24 inches. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful image. Kevin is out west. He lives out west and paints out west quite a bit. And you'll see him spotlighted. He's got some content out on YouTube. He's also been spotlighted on PaintTube, those highly produced videos that you'll find out on PaintTube. And he also shares very generously insights into how he goes about creating his work. So very, very helpful, nice, loose, however, very highly suggestive, almost feels like it's very realistic, a lot of depth, a lot of color. However, nice and loose and painterly, one of my favorite contemporary artists. And he has a lot of work featured in here, which might be resulting in my positive bias toward this book. But in each section, there are step-by-step demonstrations laid out, technique breakdowns, compositional advice, stylistic approaches to painting trees, leaves, and natural foliage in different mediums, more often in watercolor, oil, and acrylic, sometimes in pencil and other mediums as well. As you can see, very heavily illustrated, visually driven, accessible to intermediate and beginners, but also could be a useful reference for experienced painters and draftsmen as well. Just look at these beautiful paintings and drawings that you see here. This drawing right here by Stanley Maltzman is just remarkable. It's done in charcoal, 23 inches by 31 inches. It's called Tentacles, where you see the branches of an evergreen tree here. It says here in the notes below this photo that this drawing was executed with a 1/4 or 6 millimeter charcoal stick and a mechanical pencil. The pine needles were rendered with a B charcoal pencil. Just a beautiful, beautiful drawing here. Love the depth created through the subtle hints of additional trees and branches in the background. And there is reference to different tools and resources, cross-hatching, using a carpenter's pencil, blending. It goes on and on and on. There are some thumbnails here where we touch upon how you can develop the design of your piece, whether it be a drawing or a painting, the actual composition, and some of the thought processes used that led through the progression of experiments here with these thumbnails to this final drawing. So there's examples like this, different theoretical considerations like the position of horizon lines, low horizon versus high horizon, balancing elements, and creating mood. So beyond that, you'll find throughout this whole book, it's broken up in very logical order, but also sprinkled in are things that you might not normally consider to be part of the theme here, including mixing an assortment of greens. I love this section because it talks about how you might create greens, and this is just one of two sections that does this. If you paint in nature, you know that you use a lot of green, especially in the summer months and spring as well. But using green out of a tube creates some challenges. If you have ready-made greens that you're squeezing out of a tube, sometimes they just don't give you the effects that you want or the subtleties that you'd like to see amongst the transitions, amongst the different hues out in nature. So there's two sections in this book that do a really good job of helping you develop your own strategies for mixing greens. And I'm going to thumb through pretty quickly here and start moving to the sections that I actually spent the most time, that I was drawn to. I personally, I tend to, well, first of all, my favorite creative activity is going out into nature and painting on plein air. So I'm naturally drawn to topics related to that. And then additionally, I typically paint in oil paints, pastels, soft pastels, and water-based paints like watercolor and casein. So I tend to be drawn to those themes. In this case, Howard Carr and his description is how he approaches this summer mountain scene in the early morning hours aligns with my painting practice, because I tend to paint in the early mornings before work, and I tend to get out into the field and paint on plein air more often during the summer months than I do at any other time of year. So this actually takes you through his process. and describes how he resolves different issues and sets the painting up for success and how he finishes it off. Now I'm going to jump through here in the sake of time and just thumb through and show you it's chocked full with helpful images and cuts across all those mediums. So I did see a review out here that suggested that the focus of this book was leaned heavily toward watercolor. I will tell you, I think it's very balanced. You do see a lot of notes and suggestions related to watercolor processes, but at the same time, there's a ton of information about drawing and painting in oil paints and so on and so forth. Here's that second section, breaking away from tube greens, a little bit more of a scientific and organized and in-depth description of how you can approach mixing, your blues and your yellows and other hues to create more natural looking greens. And then in addition to that, as mentioned, this section here, oil sketches become studio paintings. I find the imagery here stunning. And also, as mentioned, Kevin McPherson, probably one of my favorite, I would say definitely top 10 contemporary painters that I follow. He has his own books and instructional videos, as I mentioned earlier, but this section speaks to, in this nice short vignette, how he goes about tackling a plein air painting and then converting that into a more finished studio-based painting that's quite a bit larger. So this original plein air painting right here, which is gorgeous in and of itself, it's called Fall Bullion. It was sketched on location, 6 inches by 8 inches. And then he rethought the composition and blew it up to a full-size studio painting, 20 inches by 24 inches. And you can see some significant differences right off the bat if you compare and contrast those two. But he takes it a step further and describes his process, describes how he works to retain the freshness as he makes that transition from plein air on-site painting to more finished studio paintings, and provides some helpful explanations there as well. So this section in particular I found extraordinarily helpful and wonderful, well-organized index as well. And here are some additional books that are published by Northlight. So they are well known within and amongst the painting and art community to provide some of the best instructional books, and here are some of the others. Hopefully I'll be able to get a hold of some of these and review those as well. So in conclusion, this is a wonderful instructional book. It's a wonderful reference book in visual arts and painting in an anthology style based guide, incorporating the point of view of very successful contemporary artists, and it shows painters like us looking to improve a diverse set of methods for handling trees and foliage. I would encourage you to pick up a copy, and I will put a written summary out there on my website, on my blog, and you're welcome to use that as you see fit to your advantage. Appreciate you checking out my video. If you found this helpful, or if you think it might be helpful for somebody else, please like, subscribe, share this content with a friend, and appreciate you checking out my channel. Have a wonderful day. Stay well. If you particularly like this video, check out my next video up here where YouTube will suggest content for you that relates to this same topic.